Insimbi Alloys lists on the JSE today, actually migrating from the AltX to the main board. And Pieter Schutte, who's CEO of Insimbi Refractory and Alloy Supplies, joins us now live from the JSE. Good morning, Pieter, and thanks so much for joining us today. Well, as I say, a migration that's happening for your company, just a natural progression that we're looking at here, where you boast a market cap of 170 million, or is it more to it than just that?
Good morning, and obviously to all your viewers, good morning. Yeah, I think it's a bit of both. If we just go one step back, and in 2007 when the board decided to list, we chose AltX. We believed at that time it's the right platform for us to list and take this as a learning curve to get our house in order with corporate governance, King 2 at that stage, and now King 3, and then all the JSE listing requirements. And obviously, and secondly, was to raise the capital to buy the secondary aluminium smelter in Johannesburg. Sorry for that. If you look at it now, I think the 4 years has been an experience. It's been a storm that we weathered through over the last 4 years, but I think we came out it reasonably well. And the indications are there, together with projects we currently have in the pipeline. And for that is the reason that we've decided is now the time to migrate to the main board.
Of course, part of the rationale is also to further your capital raising initiatives as you pursue acquisitive growth a little bit more strategically, Pieter. So run us through some of those plans that are currently in the pipeline.
What we currently in the pipeline have is not so much acquisitive growth. When we listed, we said we will always be acquisitive, and we've been over the last 4 years. We worked very hard. We had a lot of investigations and evaluations at certain companies. Unfortunately, some of them we couldn't have put to bed. But I think now it's more like projects that we have started. We established a new company, Insimbi Nano Milling, and this is basically the micronization of resources, some raw materials, where we mill to a very, very fine particle size to come up to 0.2 millimeters, microns. And the main target areas or markets are obviously the paint and coatings industry, where we try and find alternative to titanium dioxide, which is prices has gone through the roof, as well as the shortage. And the market, I mean, if you look at Africa, we're looking at a market of about $670 million just in the paint and coating industries. Then we haven't even looked at the cosmetics industry. We haven't even looked at the sunscreen industry. We haven't even looked at rubber and paper. Yeah. So for us, that part of this establishment of this company is very exciting. We have got the resources. We have got the technology to start up this plant soon, once the board just gives us the go-ahead to push the button. Other than that, our Metlite, which is our secondary aluminium smelter down in Cape Town that we've bought about 2 years ago, so production capacity for the years is almost fully booked, and for that reason we decided to start up our IIA secondary smelter in Johannesburg that we mothballed in 2010.
Well, Pieter, these part of the plans that you've got in the pipeline. Let's evaluate the demand scenario here, and for a moment just look at the South African economy and that operating environment. I do know that you've got cross-border exposure, but we don't have time to go in through all the territories you're exposed to. In South Africa specifically, we saw this week PMI data come through, not too encouraging, back below the 50 mark, but expected business conditions rising. So there was some disconnect, because it suggests amongst manufacturers at least, a belief that there are better times ahead. As a supplier to various players within the manufacturing space, what's your sense of the operating environment, and what kind of demand scenario are you catering to?
Yeah, I think you did right in saying so. I mean, if you look at it towards the middle of last year, where you had the rand running in the region of 6.70 sort of thing, the market was very quiet, because you had manufacturing companies that were competing against finished products coming from the Far East, where the rand is now sitting very close to 8 or thereabout. I mean, and it's not a secret from us, we like a weaker rand. 60 to 70% of our products is US dollar based, so you can just imagine with a weaker rand, it just increase our revenue, increase our margins, and increase our profit. Together with that, I think Mittal has come out with some good news with the Newcastle plant that's fully in operation now and it's running flat out. Efros Highveld Steel that came out with the production figures for the last quarter of last year, where they've upped it by over 50%. So I'm quite positive, specifically with the South African market, where we are now. There's some very good news coming out. If you look across the border of Africa, I think Africa has still got a huge amount of potential for us, and we're busy getting ourselves up to cross those borders and to go into parts of Africa that we haven't been into.